Life is just always mysterious and surprising. You never know what's around the next corner. You never know what's around the next corner. So.
What's going on, guys? I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Welcome back to another weekday in the office. Today's video is actually going to be part one of a two-part series I'm doing here on the channel all about the fundamentals of fall lawn seeding. So more specifically, what we're going to be talking about in today's video, which is part one, we're going to talk about how to properly time your fall lawn seeding. And then part two, we're going to talk all about the materials that you're going to need to make your seeding happen. So with all that being said, let's get into the video. So to start the series off here, I want to go ahead and talk about timing because a lot of questions that I get this time of year are often revolving around lawn seeding. People are often asking questions, Jake, when is the best time to seed my lawn? Jake, how do I properly time my lawn seeding? So real quick, I want to go ahead and put all of those questions to rest by letting you guys know that you can seed your lawn whenever you want, really. You could seed in the spring, you could seed in the summer, you could seed in the fall. Heck, if you want to, you can even seed in the winter. The seed is going to germinate at some point in the process, no matter when you do it. That's just how grass seed works. So I want you to realize that you really have a lot of flexibility when it comes to grass seed. But it's up to you whether or not you're going to do your part to make sure that you succeed, which is why I believe it's important to pick the right time so that you don't have to work as hard as you would if you chose the wrong time to get that return on investment that we're all striving for, which is a healthy, green, thick, established lawn that is coming from the seed that we are applying. So Jake, I understand the importance of timing, but how do I figure out when the right time comes to do my fall lawn seeding? Well, the answer to that is going to be one thing and one thing only, and that is going to be your soil temperatures. Now, when I measure soil temperatures, there's two rules that I like to abide all the time when I'm measuring soil temperatures for lawn seeding. The first rule is going to be wait till 70, and basically what that means is you want to check your soil temperatures on the regular, to be more specific with that, about 2 to 3 times a week, and you want to do that until you start noticing your soil temperature starting to dip into that 70-degree range. And then the second rule is going to be 45 till 55. At least that's what I like to call it. And basically what that means is that once your soil temperatures hit 70 degrees, you want to give them a nice 45-day period for them to slowly descend from the 70-degree point all the way down to 55. If you do that, I promise you're going to give your grass seed plenty of time to germinate, grow in, establish, and harden off before that first freeze that is yet to come. Okay, so now that we know what we need to look for, let's talk about some of the tools that we're going to be utilizing to actually measure our soil temperatures. Now, before I go any further, I just want to mention that there are so many tools out there today that allow you to measure soil temperatures, two of which I actually happen to have in the studio with me right now. And the first one is just this guy right here. Basically what this is it's a meat thermometer. You could find these at pretty much any grill aisle in any big box store, really any place that sells kitchen appliances will have this. The way these apparatuses work is you simply stick them in the ground about this deep or so, and then within a few seconds the probe will give you a reading of where your soil temperatures stand right then and there. And then the second tool that I have is actually an online tool, and this one happens to be one of my favorites, and that's going to be Greencast Soil Temperatures. If there's anything that I really like about the Greencast tool is that it's quick and it's easy to use. Let me go ahead and walk you through it real quick. So this is pretty much what their layout looks like when you type it in. Here's the URL right here, greencastonline.com/tools/soil temperatures. First thing we have here is our location search. And then what you do here is you type in your city, state, zip code, anything along those lines. And then within a few seconds, you'll probably direct your attention over here to the average soil temperatures, where you have 3 bar averages. And the first one at the top here, this one is today's average, basically where your soil temperatures are right now. And then the second one you have here in the middle is going to be the 5-year average. And the 5-year average is basically average data in the past 5 years of when temperatures typically hit a certain milestone on a certain day in the past 5 years or so. I'm sure you guys get the gist of that, right? And then 10-year average, it's pretty much the same as 5-year average. The only difference being is that they're averaging data from a longer period of time to come up with the prediction that this time of the year is going to hit a certain milestone as far as soil temperatures go. And then of course you have your calendar down here, so if you want to go forward and back as you please, you can. The last thing you have here is your map to add any additional visual aid if you need it. For purposes of this video, I highly recommend the use of an online tool like Greencast because of the flexibility that we get with it. We have the ability to not only read where the soil temperatures are right now, but we also have the ability to go back in time, take a look at past records, and use that to predict how long of a period we will have for our seeding. Whereas with something like this, you only get a snapshot of where the soil temperatures are right then and there, nothing more than that. So this won't really serve a good purpose for trying to figure out how long of a seeding period you actually have. So I just wanted to clarify that. So with all that being said, let's talk about how to calculate your soil temperature. So the first thing you obviously want to do is go to the location search and type in your city, state, zip code. In my case, I'm just going to use my zip code here, Crown Point, Indiana. Recommend you use your own location as soil temperatures are going to vary depending on location. So then after doing that, you can see we already got a couple of readings here. The first one here, today's average. Soil temperatures are averaging around 69 degrees today. As you can see, we have finally surpassed that 70-degree milestone that we were talking about earlier. So number one, wait till 70 is complete. And then if we want to go even further into it, you can see right here the 5-year average. It even tells us right here, based on past data from years 2015 all the way to 2019, sometime in early September is when temperatures are typically going to start dipping into that 70s range that we want for our overseeding. So now that we've found the first part of our equation, which is to wait till 70, now we need to figure out the second part of the equation, which is going to be 45 till 55. In order to do that, we're actually going to have to go back in time here. On Greencast, while you can go ahead, you can only go so far as dates go. Based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like you can only go up and look at soil temperatures 8 days into the future, no more than that. So because of that, we're actually going to have to go back in time and take a look at where soil temperatures were last year and figure out what time last year that the soil temperatures typically hit 55 degrees. Now for me, I have a ton of seniority using this, so I know that that is typically going to be October for me. More specifically, that's going to be around mid-October, so sometime around 12 or 13th of October. That's typically when my soil temperatures are going to go down. But after going back to that time, you could see we got a couple of readings here. Today's average, we're not really worried about that. That's just last year. But what I'm more concerned about right here is the 5-year average. So as you can see, this is based on years 2014 to 2018. And what the data is telling me here is that in the past 5 years, this is the time when temperatures will typically start to dip into that 55-degree range that we were talking about, which will then be closing day for our seeding time period. So once I found my two dates, which for me again is going to be late August, early September, anywhere around there, all the way to mid-October, then what I need to do is I need to figure out how long of an interval I have between the two dates. Now in my case, it's pretty simple. First of the month all the way to the middle of next month, that's going to be about a good 5 or 6 weeks there. I'm going to have plenty of time for my seed to establish itself before that first hard freeze.
Around the